Welcome to Buckets, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, coming to you live at youtube.com/the Action Network before Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the New York Pants, the Knickerbockers, and the Indiana Pacers. Spread on this one dipped into 3.5. We're now looking at 4. Money line on this, consensus minus 165 on Pacers. Best odds, Knicks plus 150. Best odds on the total, under 223, over 222. We'll talk about where the market is at on all that and more with Michael Fiddle, the market maestro, who's going to give us the rundown on where the market has been, where it's moved, and it is on the move again. And we'll get you updated on that as well. Brandon Kravitz is here with me from In the Zone, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. He's joined me as well. BK Picks in the Action Network app. Fiddle is at Fiddle's Picks on Twitter in the Action Network app. He hosts a daily market rundown on Twitter, which you should check out. He hosts the Advantage Sports Betting podcast, and he's got a Substack. Like, lots of stuff for you to check out. Just go check him out at Fiddle's Picks. All right. I was on the Best Bets episode for this game, and I will not be talking a lot during the Best Bets episode, but I will just give you the summation. I am going down with the SS Pacers in this game. I am on my way down. If it sinks, it sinks. If they die, they die. I don't care. The trends back. Knicks in game 5, Pacers game 6. The all of this stuff, and these trends are not just Fiddle. I know that sometimes, like, I'm a trends guy. I think they're interesting and good content. And I understand people like you and Jill that are always kind of like, I really wish we didn't talk about these so much. I get it. Here's a good example of this actually has a real world application. There is a flow to a series. There is a rhythm to a series. You steal those first 2 games and the series is effectively over. Now, somebody's going to come back eventually. It has never happened in the conference finals. Knicks trying to be the first if they can force a game 7 and win that. It's never happened before. Teams down 3-1. Couple teams have done it for sure. Not very often does it happen. And so the Pacers take games 1 and 2. The Knicks come back, grab game 3 because the Pacers have been terrible in game 3. The Pacers respond just like they have in game 4. And game 5 was circle the wagons. It was last game in front of the home crowd. Got to get one in front of Spike. Got to not lose at home. Kitchen sink adjustments. We're throwing everything at him. And the Pacers were you could tell that Rick Carlisle was like, look, I want to win, but also they're probably going to win this one and we'll get him back in Indy. We got to win game 6. He's 4-0 when he's been up 3-2 and lost game 5. When he's been up 3-1 and lost game 5 on the road and come back home for game 6, he's 4-0. That's a huge sample size, but it's Rick Carlisle. There's a huge coaching advantage. I can't get anywhere else. So I am going down with the ship. If I lose, I lose. I'm on Pacers. I'm on Pacers alts. I'm fine with it. We'll get best bets from these guys in a little bit. Let's start here. Brandon Kravitz, so many of us are on the Pacers. That's the thing that makes it like Brian Fonseca and I were both like, oh God, all of us like the Pacers so much. Oh God. Like we're just terrified. Do you have that same fear without giving me your best bet yet?
Not really. I probably should, but I feel like I've had a pretty good grasp of this series. A lot of those different situational spots are ones that I've been in to this point. And while I was on the post-game show with you after game 5 and I was distraught and despondent, it wasn't because I was on the Pacers pregame. It was because I just needed them to have a lead at one moment in that game, and they couldn't do it. And I was going to live hedge. I had this huge futures on the Pacers in 5. And so I wasn't on them in that game. I feel like I've had a good rhythm here. And this is where I tend to kind of fall in the middle when it comes to this trend stuff, because regular season, I mostly avoid it. To me, the regular season is much more about power ratings, inefficiencies in the market, and situational spots, second nights of back-to-backs, and really being on top of the injury report. And if you have a good eye for live betting, I think that's a good opportunity as well with the big swings and comebacks. In the playoffs, we're all looking at the same numbers. The power ratings are going to be the same for pretty much everybody. So I think all you have to rely on to gain the slightest bit of an edge when you're betting these spreads is to do what you're doing, Matt, and look heavier into the trends. You have already laid it out. You can do it again here. The trends all point to the Indiana Pacers in this game. And to me, when I look back at game 5, it was a laugher. I just don't know how serious that game was for the Pacers. In listening to the postgame for Siakam and Halliburton, I got the feeling like they were perfectly content to take this back to Indiana. I hate the mentality, but when you take that attitude into account and then look at the box score, Jalen Brunson scored 5 less points than all of the Pacers starters. That's just not a real basketball game to me. I think that they absolutely hammer the New York Knicks tonight, and I should have fear in that, and even saying that out loud on this podcast, but I just don't.
I want to shout out Antoine right now because this is amazing. What's up, guys? I'm new listening to you guys, so I'm a blind man. I just want to say y'all do an awesome job on explaining all the props and all the information. Just coming in new. Glad to see you, man. Welcome in, Antoine. Appreciate you being here at youtube.com/the Action Network. Please give us a like and subscribe if you guys can as you're watching this. Folks starting to get in there. Put your best bets in the chat. We'll get to it during open run later on. So we'll do best bets, but I want to hear from Michael Fiddle, the market maestro. I don't want to know where the market has moved in the 2 days on this game. Fiddle, give me side, total, money line, props. Give me the whole rundown on where the market's at.
Yeah, so I think this is in line with the trends that the market says this is going to be a Pacers spot. We have seen 3.5s get wiped off the board, and really none of the sharpest books even ever offer a 3.5. It's been really 4s, and it's been moving around the vig there. And like Brandon said, we all have the same power rankings. We're now 6 games into a series. This is the 4th venue change in the series. We know relatively what the prices are. We're fighting over cents. We're fighting over little movements. And in terms of that, I do always say it is profitable to be directionally correct with a small amount, 10, 15 cents of closing line value to a money line even. So I like the Indiana Pacers. I like them against the spread. We'll get to it in best bets, but yeah, this is definitely a Pacer spot in the market, and a loud over spot, which is one that raised my eyebrows from a series that has been pattern bet to the under. I hesitate to use the word trend there because it's a different use of the word trend, right? Every game has had a pattern where the game total in the market pushes under. This one's going way over. So we've seen numbers like 218.5 that are now at 223. We've seen 217 exist in the market where it's now 222.5. There is a big wave of over movement. And with that, if you look at the trends of the Pacers, these playoffs and this season and how they've been during this run, it's when they don't score, they don't win. So if they're going to score, if this is going to be an over spot, it should all correlate to a Pacers win tonight.
Agree. I'm on the over as well. I like this as well. We're now seeing 223s consensus in the market. So I think when Pacers win, the number is very strongly correlated to the over in the playoffs. It's been just an absolute wagon. Game 6s are typically under spots is the interesting thing here. They're 110, 80, and 6 at 57% of the under. Game 6s after the first round are. Eastern Conference Game 6s since 2003 after the first round. So I like limiting it to the Eastern Conference because, look around you, is 67, 33, and 4 to the under. When the total is less than the Game 5 total, which it was until this market move, it was 64, 44, and 2. But I'm going the other way because the over is 14-5 in Pacers wins in the last 2 postseasons, including 8-3 in this season and 4-1 to the over at home in wins. When home favorites lose Game 6, so the Pacers lose, guess what? The over is 5-2. And here's one more. When the Pacers are coming off a game where they went under their team total, the over is 6-1 the last 2 postseasons. That's maybe my favorite. It's 6-1, but it's look, your sample is the entirety of this team's playoff run. So I like those trends as well for the over. So yeah, market coming back in on Pacers here. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and do it. Go ahead, Brandon.
I have a question about Game 7. So let's just say that this all goes horribly for us.
Sure.
and the Knicks win this game. Very much within the realm of possibility. You know that I spoke there with a lot of hubris, but you don't want to overestimate yourself. Even though I'm confident, the unit sizes don't change. So that's an important lesson for everybody. As far as Game 7 goes, if it were to happen, I am going to want to bet the under the second that line pops. Is that the smart thing to do? I'm asking for myself and for everybody that is listening right now. Is that one of the first moves that we should make? Because it's going to be my gut reaction no matter how this plays out. If the Knicks were to win, I would want to just bet the under in Game 7.
Tell me it depends on the number, Fiddle. Tell me it depends on the number.
Oh, we can't talk about Game 7 right now. Like, what happens if somebody
I'm just trying to come up with a plan of attack.
Game to game, my friend. Game to game.
I would assume that the total would sit around the same number.
So I would probably love the Knicks in Game 7.
Look, here's the number. Conference Finals Game 7s. This is the killer. Because the Game 7 under trend doesn't apply in the first round, and everyone thinks it does. Game 7 unders in the conference finals since 2003 are 14-2.
Oh, that's just lovely.
14-2.
Just remember that if you're on the Pacers and
if you win, you're going to the finals, right? That's as nervous as you can get.
The under margin is 12.9 points per game.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around how I'm going to handle not winning these bets emotionally, and that will be by betting Game 7. And if I have a pre-reaction plan, then I won't get caught up in the emotion of it. You got to know yourself as a bettor.
I actually think that's it, Brandon. I think it's like if this game goes over, regardless of winner, we should create a strong opportunity for the under, considering where this game is closing, that it should bounce back the other way. So a reactionary under, if we do get a Game 7 on an early line, is probably the move.
There we go. See, we're already giving up best bets for Game 7.
Well, and while we're here, while I am obligated to share this because he's not on the program today, if you follow in the Action Network app and you follow at Wheaton Brando, Brandon put in a play today that was so good and the number was so wrong that I tailed it. And it's not my hedge because what's going to wind up happening is Brunson will win. Brandon Anderson bet Karl Anthony Towns Eastern Conference Finals MVP at 35-1 at a particular book in the market that focuses on royalty. So you can find that. Now, of course, it can be Jalen. It's probably going to be Jalen, but that number he feels is certifiably wrong. You can find his reasoning in the Action Network app. Yeah, if this goes to 7,
exactly. And I like a good under.
That's another reason why I think this becomes a Pacers spot. Like the Pacers know that, like, you see the lightning bolt and the thunder's coming, right? So you need to get this one done because you need that little rest and prep time. The last thing that this Pacers team needs is going back to New York and having to prepare for Game 7. Even if you get through that, it effectively makes your path through the finals so much harder.
And to me, I think I don't think they're scared of going into New York in Game 7. But I do think that their comments from the day off were exactly what I wanted to hear, which is we didn't play like ourselves. That's step one. If they play like themselves, the base level on both of these teams is wide enough for me to feel good in a home favorite spot for them to close it out. They need one win. Okay, let's do best bets for Game 6. But before we do that, I got to tell you about Underdog. Underdog is one of the best places to make picks during playoff basketball. While they score buckets, you could score cash. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and you can play right now in your state. Their app has over 100,000 5-star reviews and millions of players. To play, all you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like points, assists, and so much more. Once your picks feel good, you can play with as little as $1. And if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. We've got an Underdog lineup tonight, a get buckets lineup for you in this one, and it correlates with our feeling on the game. So we're going to go Jalen Brunson higher than 3.5 turnovers. They did not force many turnovers in game 5. This is going to be, I think, a better defensive performance from the Indiana Pacers. So 3.5 turnovers. We get good number on that at 1.16 times your money. So Jalen Brunson higher, 3.5 turnovers. Karl Anthony Towns, 22.5 points higher. Cat's been great in this series. He's just been consistent night to night, and Brandon Kravitz has a lot of confidence in his ability to get this done. Aaron Nesmith higher, 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So I was on those rebound numbers early in the series, and it crashed, and it was bad for me, and everything was terrible. Since then, he's been contributing in one of the ways. He's either going to get rebounds or assists or points. We get 17.5 on the points, rebounds, and assists. I'm expecting a bounce back performance from Nesmith. Think his ankle's going to feel magically a whole lot better tonight. So higher on 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Pascal Siakam 9.5 rebounds and assists lower. We're going to go lower on that. Tough series for Siakam. It's just tough for him. Can't really grab boards because all the Knicks' size and their emphasis on offensive rebounding. Tough for him to get assist opportunities because they're not really leaving him open on the short roll for him to play make. So going lower on 9.5 rebounds and assists. Brunson, 3.5 turnovers higher. Towns, 22.5 points higher. Nesmith, 17.5 PRA higher. And Siakam, 9.5 rebounds and assists lower. That gets you 6.96 times your money. If you get all 4 correct, and 3 correct is 1.74 in the flex play at Underdog. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BUCKETS100 to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BUCKETS100. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. I'm out of breath because I ran 5 miles today. And as today, it's a special occasion for me. It's my cake day. And so I decided that my reward for myself was going to be to make myself I think you should always try and make yourself a little uncomfortable at times. So I made myself very uncomfortable today, and my very old self is now suffering because everything hurts, but it's a good hurt. All right.
You can just breeze by the fact that it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Matt Moore.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I know.
Now I'm even more confident about this Pacers wager.
Pacers,
sure,
to the moon.
That's how life goes. So let's do best bets. Michael Fiddle, yours is always short and sweet. Following the market. What's the play?
Pacers, ATS, but I'll give the best available numbers and you wherever they're at in your market. This is the order of operations and best lines. -3.5, -115, -4, -105, -3.5, -118, -4, -110. If it's worse than that, stop there.
Okay. Good instruction there on exactly where to stop at your thresholds. I love it that you do that. John Couch says, happy birthday, Baldy. Thanks. I even wore the hat today, John. Appreciate that. Brandon Kravitz, what do you like tonight?
Well, I'm just hoping that we make even more cake than you'll be eating tonight. I assume that even though you went on a 5-mile run, you'll be doing so. I like the Pacers first quarter. That's going to be a half unit play, -1.5. Pacers first half, -1.5. Full unit play. Pacers full game, -3.5. 2-unit play, and then a quarter unit on the Pacers full game at -9.5 at +200 was the best number that I could find.
Okay, you're with me on this. All right, we're all on the same page. What could possibly go wrong here? Phil, I have a question for you. If I want to know your thoughts on this. Okay, so if have you bet Pacers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if the money comes back in dramatically and there's a flirt, some group waits until last second and just caves in that Knicks number.
Yep.
How do you respond to that?
It's funny you asked that because the truth is there's no response from me. I'm not at a price where I could dump off of it without losing value, right? And so the chance that I would, the percentage that I would use to dump off of it in value is more of a percent chance in negative value than the Pacers just winning and going in an inefficient market if the late market goes Knicks. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'd rather ride a minus CLV ticket than dump it, because the dump price of it is more expensive than the minus EV as it is to long-term ROI. The dump price just becomes your negative ROI.
Right.
So the funny part is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch the screen and I'm going to see what happens and I'm going to do nothing regardless about it, but I'm still going to sit here. So it's funny you ask.
Okay. All right. Kravitz, outside of the spot and the trends and the series and the bounce back and everything else, is there anything else that you like about Pacers here?
Well, the spot, the trend, the situation has the most to do with it. You know, you look back, game 1 was the coin flip game in this series. They established themselves as the better team in game 2. The Knicks then backs against the wall. They're down 0-2. They win a desperation nail biter in game 3. I thought the fact that even that game was as close as it was kind of a tell that the Knicks don't really have that next gear. That's the way it felt at the time. Obviously, they kicked into that in game 5. The Pacers then reestablished themselves as the better team in game 4 with their best win of the series. The Pacers then enter game 5 a little high on their own supply, and I thought put together a dismal, embarrassing effort. I don't know why teams enter games in the playoffs like it's game 52 of the regular season, but that's exactly how it felt from Indiana. I can't guarantee anything in terms of the result of this game. I would never do that. But what I can guarantee is that this Pacers team is going to come out energetic, locked in, and focused. And they weren't any of those things in game 5. So if I get that version of the Indiana Pacers at home in front of their crowd with a chance to close out in this series, that's what I want. I also love the fact that Indiana has not lost consecutive games since March 10th. Let that sink in. It's May 31st. They have not lost consecutive games since March 10th. To add to that, this is not only a Pacers spot, this is an anti-Knicks spot. The Knicks are just 2-6 against the spread coming off of a game where they've given up 100 or less. And if you think about what that trend means, it makes sense. They have to put in all this effort with their starters in order to collapse the opposing offense the way that they did. It's hard to replicate that in 48 hours time. They're also 3-8 against the spread when listed as an underdog of at least 3.5 points over the course of the season. So not only is this a strong Pacers play, it's a strong anti-Knicks play tonight, which is why I love it in all of those varieties.
A lot of Knicks fans in the comments who are less than thrilled with us tonight. So make sure to pop back in for the post-game show, because I will just be like sad. I'll be like kind of giggly sad, but I'll just be like, hee. That is what I will be like on the post-game show. Okay, let's do open run, and then we'll get out of here with a parlay, is what we'll do. Mock Rivers. TJ McConnell over 5.5 RA has been a wagon, and I ain't hopping off now. I love his points, rebounds, and assists too. I like his scoring in this game and points and assists. Like, I'm on his points and assist line. He's been very consistent in this. Pacers up big. He'll play more. He's going to have to play pretty much no matter what. I think this is a great spot for TJ. I'm with you on playing overs, but I also like his point scoring here as well. Chris was hoping that you would come in on the Knicks there, Fiddle. He says, my man Fiddle is on the Knicks. Don't let me down, my boy. And yeah, he definitely.
As are my family group chats. I've had family at many of the games in New York. I've been on New York a lot this series. This is the one to go the other way.
Pacers, by the way, getting 73% of the tickets, 72% of the money, and sharp action is on the Knicks that we've tracked in this. But it's coming a little back a little bit because we saw it go 3.5. Now it's 4.5. Somebody commented that the it's moved back towards Knicks.
Yeah, can I respond to that one? Because I think it's a great comment. Robert Newman said late market is already going to Knicks as Pacers money line dipped from -191 to -184. It's a great thing to be aware of those kind of moves. So it's sharp to have those kind of eyes. It's really just been a fight around -180. So any book that's gotten above that has been hit down. Any book that's gotten below that has been hit up. I'm looking at some spots that I like really rely on for market leading, and they're -177 now. They were higher than that for the Pacers 3 minutes ago, so it is coming back towards Knicks. They were higher than it was less than that for the Knicks 13 minutes ago. There's probably been 100 moves on the screen all day. It is crazy, but the fight is just around 180.
Bruce Slayton says Halliburton over 1.5 steals, Brunson under 6.5 assists, Siakam over 21 points. The Siakam play makes me so nervous. Just like I have not liked his matchup in this series. It's been tough for him. He's had like 2 monster games and then 2 very quiet games, or 3 very quiet games. So I don't know what to do. I don't mind the Brunson under 6.5 assist play because they were switching so much. They were running so much ISO in game 5. Like that was their big solve, was like, hey, we're just not going to run pick and roll. We're just going to ISO and attack you downhill. You're going to have always play fewer assists. Like that's a much less motion offense if you do that. You turn the ball over less, but you also don't create any assists off of that. So I'm on that one. Halliburton over 1.5 steals. That was a great play from Fiddle in the last game on the over 0.5. That was amazing. That was an insane grab by Fiddle there. 77 figures says Pacers -4 going to feed families tonight. Mock River says I like that Brunson under assist look. Stop Geo. SGE says Pacers first half team total over 59.5 at +153. Pretty sharp, man. That's
okay.
Sharp.
I like that.
It's pretty sharp. Knicks, J Real the Hood's greatest says Knicks first quarter under 57, Knicks under 223.5, and Knicks +4.5 are my bets. Good luck on your bets today. SGE also says 2-leg parlay, Halliburton under 10.5 assists. Joe Dolera likes that one a lot because of the pickup spots. I think he's just going to blow past the coverage and get downhill, but I understand wanting to take it. I get it. And Siakam under 6.5 rebounds is his parlay there. J Main says nice little 3-legger for him. Brunson under 6.5 assists again. OG under 4.5, I assume, assists, and over 222.5. Andrew Law says little dude rebound overs or plays. Nemhard over 3.5 and TJ over 2.5. That's an interesting angle. I have to think about that one before tip. David Martello joins us on every show, says Mitchell Robinson under 0.5 assists -125. He's only averaging around 0 potentials in the last 2 as his minutes have been cut out. Let's get sweaty. Prop Bomb, who I like as well a lot. He's also on that play as well. Richard Vogt says Pacers first half, get in and get out. Toby Lane, though, says Knicks money line. I will add a bing bong there. Robert Newman says, "Well, you 3 morons are gonna get wrecked when the Knicks win and go to Game 7." Yes,
Save that one for the post game show.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Mo Walker says, "New York Knicks, New York Knicks." You have to go New York, go New York, go New York, go. That's what you have to do. And Richard Vogt says Shamet over 2.5 points. I will always forget to look for Shamet props. I need to do that because that's a pretty good look. Mike Sandy wants to know Hallie block again, Fiddle. I'm guessing no because it was entirely about the market move for you, right?
It's 20 cents worse now. We got our block. We move on.
No one is as disciplined as Michael Fiddle is.
I love it.
All right, we got parlay, and I have a true sicko one here for a Saturday. I have a true sicko parlay here, guys. Okay, you guys ready for this?
Ready.
Okay, so Andrew Nemhard is having I think it's weird that everyone's kind of been talking it up because he actually hasn't had a very good series. It has not been a great series for Andrew Nemhard. He gets cooked into oblivion by Jalen Brunson. That's been tough. It's hard for him to stay engaged when he's having to do all these types of things. And so on his PRA, he went over in game 1 because the game went to overtime and he scored a bunch of points in OT. His line is 17.5. These are his numbers: 17, 16, 8, 9. Okay. So we're taking the under on Andrew Nemhard PRA. But thanks to our guy, Brandon Kravitz, we're taking 2 plus 3s. Give me the cap, Kravitz.
Yeah, it's at plus 195 for that. He failed to hit this in the last 3 games. He has not had a great series, as you mentioned. Sub 10 points in each of those 3. But with the Knicks picking up Halliburton further down the court, which is a new development in this series, I think the way that Rick Carlisle could adjust to that if the Knicks continue to do it, and why would they not? That leaves Nemhard with a chance to get up some early 3s early in the shot clock with little interference, because if you're loading up to stop Halliburton, then somebody's going to be open. Nembhard's had a bad series. You kind of feel like, okay, that's a guy that we can maybe move away from. It's a gut feel and a look at the way I'm projecting that Carlisle would adjust to some of those defensive assignments. You counter that attention. Nembhard gets back into the series. He did hit this in the first 2 games of this series. He's also hit this 8 times in the playoffs already. So it's not like, he's not capable of it.
Yes. We'd like to see him get it done at home, but I don't mind it. So we're going to add it 2+3s, but the under 17.5 PRA, which is obviously counter correlated, which is going to give us a pretty big boost on our number here. Pacers -4, because why not? Let's tie up more money on the Pacers. And Jalen Brunson under 30.5. Fiddle, there's been movement on this?
Yeah, like a lot of movement on the Brunson under. It was 31.5 vig towards the over. It's gone down a point and about 20 cents in the action. So it's a 50-cent move right there on Brunson's prop towards the under. He's normally amazing in closeout games. So this is pretty like telling to me, especially when you consider the total has gone up. And there's been a fight with this, Knicks Pacers on the spread. So I don't think it's like only coming from Pacers. This is like, well, it should come from Knicks. Why is it coming away from Brunson? That's a pretty loud indicator.
Okay. If we put those 4 together, Nembhard under 17.5 PRA, but 2+3s, Pacers -4, and Brunson under 30.5. It's plus 24-20. Let's get them. I like it. I think that's a fun one to sweat, because you get to get excited every time the Nembhard hits a 3 and be mad every time he does anything else. So that should be a fun one in this game. All right, that's going to do it for buckets. My thanks to Brandon Kravitz at BK Picks and the Action Network app in the zone Monday through Friday. My thanks to Michael Fiddle at Fiddle's Picks for joining me on the show. By the way, Jim here says you look phenomenal. Says you look healthier. You look great.
It's funny because me and you have talked, and I've just not been feeling well recently.
You've got that.
Good lighting.
You got that. I feel terrible glow.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
The blackout.
Enjoy Game 6, guys. Enjoy it. Win or lose, we'll see you back here for post game, breaking it all down. Till then, get buckets.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.